What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to talk to you about a controversial topic that a lot of people don't like to discuss, but that I feel is really important for people to know, and that is cannabis and its effects on masculine energy. This video is brought to you by my Masculine Mastery course, a special course for men to evolve spiritually and be their highest and best versions of themselves. So a lot of attraction is created through polarity. The more masculine energy a person has, the more they will attract the feminine energy that they desire. I'm a huge advocate of plant medicines. I've seen how plant medicines can really help a person spiritually evolve and take quantum leaps basically in becoming their best versions of themselves, overcoming difficult traumas, forgiveness, and doing a lot of things that might take longer time without certain psychedelics and plant medicines. However, when it comes to cannabis, I think that people must take caution because it is a different breed of plant medicine, and I'll tell you why. The first reason is cannabis is basically genetically modified. The original cannabis had a much lower THC content. The wild cannabis and the wild cannabis leaves did not have the same amount of THC, which is now about 50 times its original percentage.
You don't know what I'm gonna do. You don't know what is next. And I'm loving the fact, truly it's making me blessed.
The way that a plant is cultivated is very important to the spirit of the plant. Just like a person wouldn't want to put genetically modified food in their bodies, they also should be careful not to smoke genetically modified plants and put them in their bodies for the same reasons that it is not the original natural blueprint. Nature is very aligned and gives us a lot of medicines, but when we tamper with nature, we have to be aware that every little tweak that we make has consequences and no longer aligns with our body in the way it was supposed to. Which brings me to my second point. If you are aware of how cannabis is actually cultivated. And the way that cannabis is cultivated and why it has a feminine name, Mary Jane, is because the THC in the resin is harvested from the female plants. And what they basically do is keep the female plants separate from the masculine plants so that the female plants are basically creating this resin and wanting to attract the male sperm of the plant, the male energy of the plant, which they keep separate, and the plant is basically tricked into creating and producing what is harvested, which is the THC that is cultivated. Not only is this disrespectful to the plant because you are essentially depriving it of its natural reproductive process, but what happens is this desperate feminine energy stays within the blueprint and the DNA of the plant. So then when a person smokes cannabis, this feminine energy, this yearning, pulling yin energy, which is an overabundance of yin energy, begins to pull on masculine energy, and that's within a man or a woman. But this is especially harmful to men because this energy then pulls on the yang elements within a man, which is a man's testosterone, his male hormones, his sperm, and things like that. Which brings me to the third point, where we can go into the actual science and studies that have been done, which haven't been very popularized because part of the delusion of the yin energy, the feminine energy of the cannabis, is to create this sort of fog where you don't really think you're doing something wrong, or something in you knows that there's an addiction or an unhealthy habit, but you're not really willing to face the reality of that. And this is all why cannabis is addictive. It's not really like mushrooms or ayahuasca where it's something that you just do it once and it's complete. When a plant has this tugging, pulling energy, it's because there's a certain imbalance. So let's discuss some common rebuttals that I get when I bring this up to people. So some people say, but isn't feminine energy good? A lot of men are in their toxic masculinity. They could use feminine energy, etc. And yes, we can definitely see how the masculine energy would improve with feminine energy, but the type of feminine energy is important, and that's the feminine energy that is balanced, because not all feminine energy is helpful. You need a feminine energy that is nourishing and giving and has the positive traits of yin energy. With this overabundance of yin energy, it's more of a vortex. It's a sucking energy, and it's more depleting to a man's yang energy. Another rebuttal is, but my weed is organic and I grow it naturally. And it would be the same thing as if someone is saying, but I'm growing natural tomatoes, when the seeds of the tomato are originally from a crossbred, genetically modified origin. So it does not matter how natural you believe your weed is, the original source and all the seeds at this point are already genetically modified. Another common rebuttal is, I'm not addicted, I just enjoy it. This is something that you have to be really honest with yourself about, because the majority of cannabis users that I see end up using it on a daily basis. And if you use anything externally that's not for survival on a daily basis and incessantly, then you are depriving yourself of cultivating it internally. Everything spiritually is already within us, and when we need something externally, we might just be kidding ourselves, and it might just be something that we use to escape or to not deal with certain feelings and emotions. If you don't believe this science, then just take a look around at people you might know that smoke or yourself, and there's usually certain differences with someone who smokes cannabis and who doesn't. A lot of men who smoke cannabis tend to have a more leaner build and certain things that are indicative of a lower testosterone. This of course is not always the case. We find a lot of people who can smoke and have, you know, a lot of masculine energy, and they don't fall within that stereotype, but these are usually the exceptions rather than the rule. And just because you can overcome something doesn't mean that's your optimal state at operating. Another unfortunate side effect of being addicted to cannabis is that there's less yang energy for ambition and to be driven. So it's very important to be honest about all these aspects. If you're someone who has extreme self-control and knows how to really use the medicine, and it helps you in certain ways, because there is of course still some medicinal properties, and it can show you visions and things that can help you. If you can do that with self-control, then that is your free choice. But I think it's important for all of us to be honest with ourselves and to see if something is really serving us. I just wanted to make this video because I've been feeling really called to do it for a while, and I know that a lot of people, especially in the spiritual community, don't want to hear this, but I have this weird desire that I like to speak about things that are taboo, that provoke people, and that are just truth that I want people to know for their own highest good. So I hope it helps at least a few people out there to make a conscious decision that might improve their lives in huge ways. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.